Well, transition in energy, of course, is a part of the global transition. What is happening now, and it's the right place to speak about the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution will have huge impact on what's happening here in the world. And one of the scenarios, I prefer to have the green one, which looks much more sort of nicer for the world population.
Why? Because it's more even keeled, is what you're suggesting.
Exactly. But the fourth industrial revolution is accompanied much more revolutionary processes here. I call them our evolution, revolutionary evolution. Basically, the fourth industrial revolution is not an evolution when you have evolution, then revolution, another evolution, another revolution, and the fourth one, it will be exponential growth of many things. And as we heard today as well, it will be also a merger of biology, technology, energy, and politics as well. So what will change in this world is not only the new technology, how much, which type of energy we are using, but also the way we are managing it, technologically and politically. And from that point of view, the risks that we are facing are going to be not the classical ones that we know. I think you go back 30, 40 years or 50 years ago, the political risk that we were facing, the world was divided between two empires. At the end, there was a competition. There were risks related to this war or that war that could be predicted, and the oil prices was jumping up or jumping down. That's what The reality is that any risk is connected with predictability. The higher predictability, the lower is the risk. And the predictability has many components. It has industrial, economic, macroeconomic, and so on, but one of them is political as well. The political risks, if you go back now to 20, 30 years, were classical risks, which could have been guessed or accounted, and in many forms it was about cooperation or non-cooperation between states, nations, their interests, and so on and so forth. The new world is a world of a quantum behavior. I think the small gadget that each of us has and has not brought here in order to is our life, our information, our family, our archive, our accounting, our credit card, and so on and so on, but also a new way of participating in politics. I think that this political movement worldwide is becoming more and more quantum at the end of the day. Look what was happening in many places of the world. I mean, the election of a young, talented politician in France just a couple of years ago was a quantum effect when addressing to the people was not through traditional institutions, the political party, the organization, but directly to the public. And they are interacting. It's not only that they are voting only 4 or 5 years once, but they are involved in that process every day, like through the Facebook or Twitter and so on. The quality of exchange of information has changed as well. Let's go back 60, 70 years ago. I mean, when radio was first used by presidents of, let's say, the United States and later in Europe and further down as a way of communication. Then the television, see that? And President Kennedy was one of the first to use that power. And then you go further down, President Obama, and then President Trump, addressing directly to the people. He is involved in direct dialogue with people every day through his Twitter.
Well, this region is blessed with abundant resources. Like Jordan, that today nearly 97% of the electricity.
A great way of combining with renewables in order to be able to provide light, because it's not the plastics that
Well, I don't think that I'm going to comment about your discussions with the head of the KGB. Neither the...
He was a character like from the 1950s, but he was pretty impressive.
I think I would like more to speak about 2020, 2030, 2050 rather than what happened before. And that brings me to the same point. I think we're getting more diversified world, much more sort of a world which is much more dynamic. From that point of view, it becomes a bit more predictable. And at the end of the day, this brings us to more sort of predictability and stability at the end of the day. So I don't think that we have the same feeling of, or we're more afraid that that will be a big major political event or a war somewhere, because we have learned how to manage it.
Huh. Why is that, when you say?
Because of the diversity. And at the end of the day, we're introducing more and more new technologies. In our discussions, there are 2 or 3 small elephants that are missing. The one elephant is, for example, nuclear.
Yes.
I don't know, is it politically correct to speak about nuclear or not? But at the end of the day,
I had 40 minutes left. I was going to bring it up, but that's okay. You can
No,
fast forward as a co-moderator.
nuclear matters. Nuclear matters at the end of the day because from our past, which was black, burning coal and fossil fuel, or from our sort of grayish sort of presence today, where we are adding some green color to our current thing at the renewables, up to the absolutely green and beautiful future. I think we have to go years ahead. The question is, will nuclear be a part of that or not? Of course, I do understand how people have...
Should it be, is your view?
My personal view, it should be, because that will accelerate, because nobody has really calculated mathematically what is the damage that we are doing by burning oil and coal to the planet, to the environment and the climate. And that change in climate will have dramatic impact on our... It will create tsunamis that will destroy things like the Fukushima, for example. Human error that creates the tragedy of Chernobyl. But at the end of it, as a technology with the new ones, with 100 megawatt, 300 megawatt, small compact ones, I think the nuclear has a possible future. Because at the end of it, it doesn't...
You have the caveats, Dr. Sarkeesian, with where it's built, the technology that we have today.
Definitely. As every technology, it should be clear international standards. But with the fourth industrial revolution or our revolution, what is happening now, introduction of things like artificial intelligence, that will make that. The second, I think, small element is we didn't speak about hydro at the end of the day. And hydro matters. And for many countries like Armenia, we have a very balanced energy portfolio. It starts with a nuclear power plant. And that's a Soviet build on PBR 430, which is not an ultra-modern built by Arriva or something. And it works steadily all of these years. We have survived 2 big earthquakes and so on. So it's all about know-how in the future. Second, we have hydro. The third, we are pushing ahead with the renewables in Armenia as well. And Armenia is exporting electricity. We're not exporting gas because we don't have gas, but we're exporting electricity. The third point that I would like to add to this discussion is water. Water as a natural resource. Okay, we have coal and oil here, but we have also water as a natural resource, which is very, very important. All of the countries that we're referring, they are very rich in natural resources. They are rich in sun, wind, oil.
Not water.
But not water.
Yeah.
And water matters because, first of all, water in 50 or 100 years' time will be a source of energy, where we'll learn how to have that as a controlled thermonuclear processes. And water will become not only for drinking, but also producing a lot of energy, that class of water. Secondly, I consider Armenia as a part of the Middle East as well. Armenia doesn't have oil and gas. It has other natural resources, but it has huge resources of water. I mean, unfortunately, we probably are using around 10 or 20% of our water, and the other 80% is way waste. So water is another, because a lot of your energy, be that renewable or burning, that's valuable thing which is called oil. Oil is not for burning. I mean, this is Middle Ages burning oil. It's so rich, natural resource. We can make food of it, we can make medicine of it, we can make anything, but we are burning it at the end of the day.
Can I bring a follow-up to you on this? We see billions, as Manar knows, Patrick's seen it as well, billions of dollars going into downstream petrochemicals by ADNOC in particular, and Abu Dhabi. Saudi Aramco's declared their plans. And there seems to be a mental break, and Lee, if you want to jump in on this, is that the future is plastics. We hear it all the time. Oh, there's so much demand for plastics in the future. And half the world seems to say that we need to be eliminating plastics because of the prices. Where is the break? Is it going to be used for both or not? I know it's a fairly complex question, but is there going to be that much demand for petrochemicals because of emerging market growth that they have this equation right? And Manar, please jump in after Dr. Sarkeesian. Well, I'll ask for some brevity because of time.
Well, yeah, I think it'll be very. I've been watching this thanks to World Economic Forum, where I was for years chairing the Global Energy Security Council and watching all these predictions of how much oil is there in the world. First panic that the oil is getting, there's no much oil in on this planet, and a lot of it are we going to use or not. But the predictions are changing, will be changing. In 5 years or 2 years' time, when you show me another graph, it will be different. Because there will be other contributions like technology, like the change of the structure of our economy, from the forward belt to startups, smaller local and introducing things like artificial intelligence, big data management. That will help to manage the cities. That will help to minimize, optimize the way we are running. We're running our energy and resources as well. So it will be dramatic change. Let's meet in 2 years' time, and I would like to discuss with you the curves that you have presented here. So the world is changing very fast. And I think from that point of view, whatever we do in fossil fuel, oil, and connected it, I think we have to be looking wider and have sort of a more inclusive, including, are we going to use the plastics tomorrow, or how much effect will have artificial intelligence all of our discussion tomorrow?
Okay, good. Manar, why don't you jump in, and Patrick, feel free. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I agree with His Excellency 100%. Today, this fluctuation in oil price has actually caused a bit of instability.
That's probably around $4 per million BTU gas price. So role in providing that backup system for the intermittency of supply.
Well, I think you're creating a discussion between one former physicist with another one. Angela Merkel was specialized in quantum chemistry, and I was on quantum physics and theoretical aspect physics. I think her approach, and even in Germany, you go back another 20 years ago, the understanding of the importance of nuclear was there. But big tragedies create interpretation of a risk. And of course, today the nuclear has become something which people don't feel comfortable at all.
Even in France, with a decision in the last week as well.
Yes, I do agree with that. But as I think one of my conclusions here is that we do agree that if we don't have some dramatic changes or dramatic moves, at the end of the path from getting rid of coal up to the complete renewable will be quite long. In the meantime, we will damage the environment and the climate. And the damage that will create the damage to climate will not be just a passive damage. That damage will be a dramatic one, creating more droughts, creating more problems with the food, with the less water, the more deserts, and at the end of the day, no deserts. And I think, and then we'll have more tsunamis in the world. So I think the choice is, do we try to find other solutions? And the solutions could be more hydro, more new technology based, like yours or something that I cannot predict today. More efficient, more optimized, using the new technologies. And these technologies will go very fast, using definitely big data management. I mean, I'm giving you small details, but they will become big tomorrow in the 21st century. And at the end of the day, we cannot just ignore nuclear because we're afraid of it. Yeah, because nuclear and because
so you have two G7 countries now that have said,
I do understand that, but if you go back, 10, 15 years ago, a lot of European countries were excited by the idea and building more and more, including the United Kingdom. They've already lost the know-how by making a nuclear power plant, so they had to go to France, to Arriva and EDF to make a nuclear power plant. So we don't want to end up in Europe at the end of it, except France. Everybody has lost the nuclear technology. They have lost. Italy, Germany, UK, and so on. So who has it? The United States, Russia, Korea. I mean, the one which is in Emirates is Korea, and China. I think we don't want to lose technology which are important because they can be developed into something which is much more safer. So the right balance, and I agree with you, I think we don't have much time. I think we have to be pushing, doing parallel processing, not just on having one cigarette. Let's fight against coal. I think let's fight against coal. Let's use much more better gas and oil. Let's introduce as quick as possible renewables. And let's not forget about hydro, but let's not forget about nuclear energy, and use the maximum of the new technology, data management, optimization, because I agree with you, we don't have much time.